Hey guys, welcome back to We Met at Acme. I am so excited to be here with Ryan McMahon. Ryan is the founder of Conte Supper Club, and he's also just a regular 27-year-old single guy in the city. I feel like bad saying regular.
Yeah, it's a little bit misleading. Honestly,
You're cool,
strive for
you're cool.
normality in some senses, so that's fine. 28 in April. So
Okay, April what?
23rd.
So does that make you an Aries?
Taurus.
A Taurus.
I'm a sneaky one.
Oh my God, I totally had like mom brain just then because of course I know what April 23rd is. That's actually my my brother-in-law's birthday.
No kidding. Good
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Even as a Taurus, is Taurus good thing?
Taurus is good. Taurus are usually stubborn. He's not really stubborn, but Taurus usually get a reputation for being a little bit stubborn.
I could see it.
But they're just like, they're reliable, which I really like.
Because stubborn can be good too, right? Like
Mhm.
stubborn's like you feel some way and you're going to stick to that. It's like stubborn on the good things as well as the bad things.
Exactly. So before we get into some of these questions, what is your favorite romantic gesture?
To give or receive?
To receive.
It's a great question. I think like the outside thing, like just like the on a random Tuesday or random Wednesday, like doing something, like for me it would be like getting flowers or like, and I'm assuming we're talking within like a relationship.
Yeah.
So something like that, or be like, hey,
You receiving flowers?
no. For me,
Okay.
giving, I'm just
Uh-huh.
kind of trying to spin it
Uh-huh.
on its head and think backwards here. But like, hey, do you want to grab lunch? Or like,
Mhm.
hey, do you want to, like, I have time, like, do you want to go do a quick beer? Like, I have a dinner, I can't make it, I can't like see you tonight, but like, why don't we grab like a quick cocktail before we part ways and maybe I'll see you later tonight.
So like showing you that you're a priority.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Just like time.
That's cute. So it sounds like what's that love language? Quality time.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
love language. It's interesting because I feel like that's a lot of guys' love languages. And if that is your love language, right?
Mhm.
If quality time is important to you, do you need that quality time to be like locked in, looking at each other in the eyes, no distractions? Or are you okay just like hanging out both on your phone sometimes, you know?
I think both on the phones. I think it's such a slippery slope, particularly like cell phone. Like I was thinking about it a different way, which we can circle back to, but like the reality is if you're going to spend, like we're all, I think, addicted to our phones in some capacity. If you're going to spend that much time with somebody, like you're going to be on your Instagram at some point in time. And like, you shouldn't be so hard on like your significant other or hard on yourself for being on that. But there's everything in moderation, I think, is like my biggest trend is like try and do something. Like if you're on your phone for all 5 hours that you're with somebody, that's not great.
Yeah.
But kind of where I was thinking about it more so is like, I think quality time can be spent with friends too. Like if you like in a fortunate situation, like if your friends have mutual friends with her friends, like the 20 of you guys getting together, like the 5 of you guys are like a double date. I think that is just as important and can be the same level of affirmation as like one-on-one time.
I agree with that. I feel like that is overlooked when it comes to quality time because so many people are like hardos about the quality time rules.
Totally. And I think I've even like fallen into that trap before in the past where it's like, that is my love language. So it's like, okay, like I really value quality time. And I think like I like try and live a pretty busy lifestyle. And so like I make a lot of time for other people. And so that's how I feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a complete balance to that. And there's a learning experience through that.
Definitely. But I do feel like just to round up the quality time talk, that you're still spending time together if you're on a double date or in a group hang, but your person's there.
100%.
Yeah.
And even like it's different. Like you could be more engaged in those situations because it's like an outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like with like parents or sisters or brothers or like girlfriends, like you get comfortable, right? And there's like, which is great. That's the point. But it can also be like fun to mix in other people and then you're held accountable. Like I'm not going to be on my phone
Totally.
at dinner on a double date because it's rude. But like, and I probably wouldn't check my phone on a date, but like that you would be more inclined to do so.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's so true. I sometimes feel like when I'm on like let's say like a triple date, because we've been on a few of those recently.
I've never been on a triple.
It's fun.
Okay.
It's fun if you have two couples that you really love. And I feel like sometimes I learn new things about my husband on those dates because I'm like,
Yeah.
we're having conversations
look at
that
him.
we're not having,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just the two of us, you know? I'm like, oh, I didn't know you like
Mhm.
were really into that political candidate. Like, so interesting.
Since when did you play cricket?
Right. Cool. So I'm going to get into these questions. People really came through with the questions here. People really want to know what's behind the mind of a 27-year-old
And this
single
was just
guy in the
blanket
city.
statement. This guy's 27. He's single.
Straight up.
Have at it.
Straight up.
Okay.
So I don't even know where to start. I guess this is a fun start, right? What's a Bumble opener that you'd like to receive?
I've never been on Bumble.
Okay,
I've
but
been
like
on
a
dating
dating
apps.
app.
So dating apps
Uh-huh.
in general. My Hinge prompts are terrible. Like
Let's see.
I'll pull it offhand just for timing's sake.
Please.
But like, what are you into? Music. What do you like to do? Cook.
No.
Yeah, and like I really don't focus much on Hinge. Or you tell me maybe that's like a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, but I do think it kind of validates this advice that I give because I do dating consultations.
Mhm.
And if you've emailed me for it and I haven't gotten back to you, I'm so sorry. I will in a month or two.
I've got like 30 messages in your inbox, and that's why I'm single, Lindsay.
That's really funny. No, but I always say to women that I speak to, I'm like, give the guys with the boring Hinge a chance because like a guy whose Hinge is so good, it's
Mhm.
almost like sketchy. It's like, why are you so
That's
good?
my thought process. And I think it's like, to say calculated would be misleading, but it's certainly intentional.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know that I necessarily want to meet somebody on Hinge. My last girlfriend was on Hinge, but like, and that was great. I have like no bad things to say about that. But like, going forward, I don't know. And I'm not like against it, but personally, I'm like, I'd rather just meet somebody in person, which I think everybody does. And I'm not, like I said,
Yeah.
against Hinge, but it's to circle that back. It's like, I'm doing this to kind of portray, I'm to like give like intentionally, like I'm not that into this. And like, I'm
Right.
trying, which I could see the counter argument to that. Be like, why would I like this guy? If
Right. I
he's
mean, the
gonna
one
be, like,
thing,
too cool for school.
right. The one thing that I would suggest is like at least one funny answer to a
Okay.
prompt, like just to show, you know, because like girls love when we laugh and like that stands out to us.
I try and show, and not to cut you off, but I try and
Mhm.
show personality through like photos. So I
Okay.
think like everybody's got the hot pictures, and like I think I've probably done a shirtless picture at one point. I think that's like, is that bad?
Ryan.
I've
Not
since
good.
taken that down. So
Okay, good.
maybe that's
yeah,
a good
yeah.
thing.
It's not good. We judge
okay.
that for sure.
Is that right?
We do.
Let's break that down. Why is
Yeah. I think the shirtless photo on an app is just like, it's a little tacky. It's a little desp, you know? Like,
Yep.
it's not necessary. And granted, if it's tasteful, like if you're just like with
How do
the
you do? I don't think
guys-
you can do like a tasteful shirtless picture. to
If
be
it's a
quite
solo
honest.
shot of you shirtless, then like that's a tragedy.
I don't think I've
you
ever done
know.
a
But
solo.
if you're like with your friends and you're all like in Ibiza or something, and it's like, you know, a group photo of like all of you, I don't know. I feel like that's a little better, but that's even like cringe.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking, and I don't have a shirtless photo
What
on my
was the
Hinge.
shirtless photo?
I'm
vibe?
trying to think. It was such a long time ago. This was
Mhm.
like before my last relationship.
As like
a younger
it's-
man.
Yeah, it's better than a gym shirtless photo for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
true like mirror selfie.
Mhm.
It definitely wasn't that.
But I would actually turn it around on you and say, how do you feel about like bikini photos for
That was
women?
gonna be my
I feel like
question.
that's equivalent.
It's funny to look at it through that lens because my answer would be like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
I don't think it's weird, but I think that if you're looking for a relationship, it's
Right.
counterintuitive
right,
because
right.
the guy sees you in the bikini and he's like, oh, like she's hot.
Right,
Like I'm
right,
matching with her
right,
because of how she looks.
Right.
In
Not
the bikini.
because of her prompt, because
not
of
because of her face,
right,
straight up
right.
because of this bikini
Right.
body
I
right
agree with
now.
that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And I did it at one point as like a trap. And I was like, anyone who likes the bikini photo and not like my prompts or like a
Oh, so
clothed
you
photo.
see this goes into I don't even like
This was like a sick mind game. I did it for like a few months
but
when I was on the
you pay
app.
attention to which photos are liked.
Oh yeah. I think all women
This is-
do
I
though.
like these things go right over my head.
I think all women do to an extent, but not all women have a trap photo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I ask when I do dating consultations, I'll be like, which photo gets the most likes,
Mhm.
like gets the most reaction. And most women know right off the bat.
And to that point, like personality, like my personality, like I've tried and like be like funny and like whatever. And like, there's one where like I have like a Haagen-Dazs bar just like in my mouth and I'm
Yeah.
like walking down the street and it was just like, I think I was sending it to like, I don't even know, like my mom probably or
Yeah,
something. Like,
yeah.
oh, what are you up to tonight? And I'm like, oh, just like coming back from work. I grabbed an ice cream bar and like I put that on my Hinge. I was like, that's funny and weird and like
Yeah,
different.
I
And,
like that.
That's what gets more stuff.
Yeah, and now I'm craving a Haagen-Dazs bar. But I will say, to back you up, none of my ex-boyfriends, including my husband, had interesting Hinge profiles. I never saw my husband's, but I asked him what was on it, and he described it as extremely boring as well. So give the guys with the not as interesting profiles a chance.
I'm just like less focused on Hinge altogether at this point. So
yeah,
I'm probably not a good example in that.
No, but I think you're a good example in that you're an interesting person with a boring Hinge profile.
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, there you go. So this is a kind of a big one, but do you feel ready to settle down, or are you enjoying single life right now?
No, definitely ready to single down.
Really, at 27?
Yeah.
Wow. What changed and when? Or was it always that case?
I think that there's a lot of like, I'm really focused on the future. And I think that there's a lot of like normalcy that like comes with like being in a relationship and like less bouncing around. Like, I like being single. I enjoy it. Like I'm very comfortable like going out to dinner by myself or like going grabbing lunch or, walking around like, and I think when you're single, like you have to like enjoy that like time. And I'm not perfect at it by any means, but I think it's like, especially in New York, there's a lot of benefits to being in a relationship, like financially, like if you're working towards like moving to get in with somebody, like just like starting a life, starting a family, like having like those same goals and like working towards that. That's what I'm interested in more. I think that like other friends of mine or like people in general fall into the trap. I shouldn't say friends of mine. I just think people in general, it's like, oh, like I need to do this like right now. I have to be on this like timeline. It's less that, more like if it happens, great. I'd like it to happen. If not, it is what it is. And I have that benefit as a guy, right? Like,
yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're looking for a woman who is like really successful or is on like the level that you find yourself. What do you do again?
So I work in commercial real estate.
Okay. So because you mentioned like, it's for how expensive the city is, like with rent, like imagine you'd split rent with this person. So you're not looking for someone who doesn't want to work. You're looking for like a power couple vibe.
Okay with both, but I think that there's maybe nostalgia is the wrong word, but like, I'm like, that would be cool to be like, these like power couples. Like I was in London like a couple weeks ago and like there was this two couple like dressed to the nines and they were at this like social club in London like having their morning tea and like both clearly like going to work at like 9 o'clock, like gave each other a kiss and like walked away, and I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like
I love
that's
that.
really cool.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be cool, but I don't have a preference either way.
I totally love that. I also was just thinking that we have to tell the listeners what happened before we started recording. I can't believe I didn't.
I think Kevin, if you're listening to this, I'm sure
Kevin, you need to hear this story. So I walked in here. Ryan had texted me and he was like, I'm here, just like, found my way in and sat down. So I walk in and I see Wolf, who's the engineer, and there's this guy who I assume is Ryan because I've never met Ryan, and he's like, hey, you want like a bun or something? What did he have?
He
like
offered me a bun too.
Yeah, he's like, do you want a bun? He like
buns.
had all these like buns, like bread buns. And I'm assuming this is Ryan because you texted me, I'm here. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. And I think I even said to him like, sorry, I'm late. And he didn't really react. And it was like this weird energy between us. And then he goes, so what's the name of your podcast? And I was like, what did I get myself into? I can't believe I let this guy who I've never met on my podcast comes in, doesn't even know the name of my podcast, but at least he has buns.
And
I don't know.
Fun energy. Like it was like a weird.
It was hilarious.
It was like a good energy.
I think he must have thought that I was like, I don't know, either a huge bitch or like very just a confused person. And I was like, wait, are you Ryan? And he was like, no.
How long did it take you to ask him? Meanwhile, I'm in the other room just like sitting there.
Right.
Like, Be like, all right, here we go.
Yeah,
It's like this small room of
yeah.
like
It took me quite a while. Yeah. And then he was like, no, I have a podcast. And then I still thought it was you. And you were coming on to like promote your podcast, but didn't give a fuck
no
what mine was.
No podcast.
So
and
funny.
I do give a fuck about your podcast.
It's really kind. And then I finally figured it out and I went into the other room and there you were. And I told him and it was just hilarious. So I had to share that story with you guys. It was really good. So Kevin, shout out to you. Sorry for thinking that you were Ryan and that you were crazy for not knowing what podcast you're about to go on. Okay, so this one is really interesting. You mentioned friends briefly. Are most of your friends single or are they seriously dating people?
I would say trending towards most of them are starting to date people, if not already in relationships. I definitely I wouldn't say behind the curve. That makes it like a negative connotation, but like my friends from college, interestingly enough, are in serious relationships, and my friends from high school more so are starting to get into relationships. So I would say like there's a few of us that are single. I mean, it is kind of funny because like when you're single, you start to hang out with your single friends more because you guys share the same interest on like a Thursday night. Like guys who are in relationships, like, no, I'm gonna like go out to dinner and like go on a double date and like do that. So you see more of your single friends, which like almost can construe your vision on it. But
like how so? Is it not like what's more fun for you right now? Hanging out with your single friends or your friends in a relationship? If you're trending towards wanting a relationship.
I like both. I think that like the things that I enjoy doing, like I would say like and this is not to like diminish like my single friends, but like I enjoy like going out to dinner and like having like a chiller night at this point. Like I've kind of like partied out a little bit, I think. Like I'd rather just like dinner in bed by midnight on like a Friday. Whereas like if you're single, like, and there is like maybe like to a fault, like you should be out and like about doing your thing and like doing that stuff. So I like both and there's a time and place, but if you were like gun to a head, I'd probably be like, yeah, hanging out with my friends. I will say I'll flip it on its head though. Like that same trip that I was on overseas, that was with a lot of couples and that kind of sucked because I was by myself and it's like, all right, well, this sucks. It would be nice to like share this like incredible ski trip like with somebody else, you know?
Yeah, totally. You get like the bunk bed.
Yeah. Like totally. I'm like sharing with this like Italian dude who's like snores. He's the man, but like
that's
I was
really
like,
funny.
This is brutal.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we forget that men have those shitty experiences too, because like we as single women get that shitty room with that friend that we don't want to be with either. I love that. I love that you're looking for a relationship. So if you are, how often are you going out on dates, would you say?
I try and do like once a week.
What's the meaning behind that? Is it just like harder to nail someone down that you actually like? Or do you feel like you can only kind of give your attention to one person at a time a week or something?
You just feel like it's like it's expensive to go on dates. Like going out on like 3 dates is like a week. You're like, all right, that was if you're going to like dinner or even drinks, like that was a $500 night or like week in New York just alone on going out.
Totally.
But that's like, I think less so. The other part is like, I've just tried to do more like quantity over quality. I think that's just like a better way to live overall. And you have to take chances, I think, in anything, but that's kind of the reason. And then also like, it's just, there's a lot of different things with work and everything else. It's busy.
But how can you tell quality over quantity? Like what makes you think this person's going to be a quality date?
Good question. I think like it's the best dates I've been on, I would say overall are introductions from somebody else or like meeting, like a meet cute, like, and you meet in like a genuine way. And like, those have been like the best dates. Cause you have like common ground already. Oh, you know, like you and I met just now and we were like, we had a couple mutual friends. And like, I think that's like just the best icebreaker. And everyone's like, okay, this guy's not a serial killer or like this girl's not crazy. Like it checks that like box pretty quickly. I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. So like, let's take your last date, for example. Where had you met them?
That's kind of a tough one.
Why?
I met playing squash. That was my last date.
Okay. Where do you play?
The University Club up on 54th.
Nice. And you just like went up to her or she went up to you?
We like met at a dinner and I was like, oh, do you want to like play? So I guess we met at a dinner. You want to play?
Okay. So where are you going out? Like where have you met girls out other than this dinner? And like, where are you kind of going out with your single friends right now?
Mostly the West Village, I would say. I try like my first apartment was on the East Village, and like I've really enjoyed like going over to the East Village for like dinner and drinks. I think it's like a very different and like fun vibe. But again, like not to overuse it, but gun to head West Village.
Or what like bars or
Not
restaurants
Acme.
specifically?
I've actually never been to Acme. I
Really?
couldn't tell you what Acme is outside of this podcast.
Honestly, I haven't been in years, but
When you walk in, are they like?
they were. So Frankie was the bouncer last time I went. I don't think he is anymore. So I don't know what my experience would be
Okay.
like if I went now.
It'd be really funny if you were there, like, yeah, like back of the line. It's
Yeah.
pretty nice.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, especially because I'm like not their age demographic right
Yeah, yeah.
now. I would not be surprised at all, but I do love going to the Nines, which is their restaurant above.
I
Acme.
have been to the Nines. I like that place quite a bit.
Yeah, they're nice to me there, which
Good.
is nice. Okay, so give us a bar in the West Village that you frequent, like when you're,
I go to Corner Bistro a ton.
but that's not a bar.
I would say it is. That's my argument. I'm here to say
Really?
that Corner Bistro is a bar and a great place to meet people.
What time? Like after hours?
After hours, but also like I think that the best bars are like I've like paid my dues going to Hudson Hound and like getting bumped into, and like I hate that. Like I hate crowded bars. And I think that it's just like a little bit of like a weird, you feel like a fish in an aquarium a little bit in like places like that. Like I think like more organic conversations happen when it's like unsuspecting and you're like just shoulder to shoulder with somebody. Like maybe you're ordering the burger at Corner Bistro, or you're like,
I mean, what else could you order?
exactly. But yeah, so that's why I enjoy places like that a little bit more.
Okay, like nightcap kind of places.
Yeah, completely.
Okay.
Completely.
All right, Corner Bistro. Throw us one more.
I went to the last bar I was at. It was Automatic Slims, but I would say that that's like a little bit more like the Hudson Hound. I'm trying to think of like other fun spots. I've never been like a meet a girl at the bar kind of guy.
But have you ever gotten a girl's number at a bar?
Yes. Yeah.
And when you did that, did you, because this question came up and I feel like people get, women get really upset when a guy asks for their number at the bar and then does not actually text after. Have you ever done that?
I don't think so.
Like if you're getting the number.
I think if you're going to like work yourself up, like I think the other thing is like girls think that like when a guy walks up to them, it's just like the easiest thing in the world. Like we're human too. Like it takes a little bit of like mustering up, or at least with me, I can't speak for everybody. Like,
yeah.
I know guys who are like friends I grew up playing hockey with that are just like we'll go up to a girl like untethered and whatever. That's not me. I think that if I'm gonna like work myself up, be like, hey, what's going on? I'm gonna get the number.
Yeah. How can we tell as women if it's a guy like your, soccer friends or whatever who just like have
I think just
who do it all the time?
Everybody says it's like you do the like you get the number and then you're gonna like bounce up. Like that guy's probably gonna go talk to 4 more girls in that night. And like,
how can you tell?
Because he'll physically be just talking to another girl.
So
you know what I mean? Like I come up to you. I'm like, hey, like saw you from across the bar. I thought you were, I don't know, some cheesy like pickup line.
Sure.
And then you're like, oh, like would love to maybe grab a drink sometime at like you're never gonna like, I don't feel like you shouldn't like, you're not gonna like try and like do something right then and there.
Right,
Like,
right,
would love to grab your number and maybe take you out and drink sometime. Just like go watch that guy like throughout the night and like you'll bump into him. Like if he's in the other corner with like a group of girls, like you can be like, okay, like maybe, or like, I don't know. I would probably just go back and like hang with my friends and like do that.
Yeah.
Maybe out of safety, but I don't know.
No, that's a really good thing to look for.
But maybe the guy's got like, I don't know. I try and like play devil's advocate. Like maybe the guy's got like a lot of girlfriends and like,
right.
There's no like, gets back to like,
no, I think if he's one to one with girls for the rest of the night, that's not good. If he's with like a group of girls, that's fine.
Totally, exactly.
I know you said that you're not like a big dating app person, but how, have you ever asked a girl out on a dating app and then flaked on them?
I think that like, if it's set in stone, no, I'd like to say maybe that like I'm forgetting, like I want to be like truthfully honest. But I'm big on like, if you say you're going to do something, like people's time is like so important, like follow through with it.
Yeah, agreed. Somebody asked, do you hesitate entering relationships because there could always be something better? This isn't like a you attack.
I think that's like the biggest problem that like we have, like maybe in New
Mhm.
York, and I can't speak to like other like cities or whatever, but like
Your friends say that they have that problem.
no, I think like even like I like I don't know, I would just like observe and I see like it. I think that the dating apps and everything and like social media has made it like everybody's way too perfect these days, and like nobody's that perfect in real life, and like
Yeah.
I'm probably guilty of it as well, like aspirational. And I think it's good to be aspirational in some senses, but like if you get too caught up in it, you're never going to be happy.
Yeah, that's very true. I agree. I think that we do see these things that are unrealistic, these things on social media, like you mentioned, and we do think that there's better out there. We're not really like
Hmm.
watering
Hmm.
our own gardens as well.
What does that mean?
Like the grass is greener. It's
Yes.
like, well, the grass is
Like
greener
a
where you
play on
water
it.
it.
I like that.
Yeah. Um, Somebody asked this, and I have strong thoughts, but they asked, what are your thoughts on a girl texting a guy who is slow fading slash ghosting them?
Isn't this like your thing?
Well, I would absolutely not text that guy because he's not into you. But I'm curious.
It's
what you
hard.
think.
It's hard not to do it, right? Like, especially if you like somebody, if you can pick up on something, the easy answer is like pull the plug and like it'll work to your benefit.
Well, so if you were slow fading a girl, would you like, and she texted you, how would that make you feel? Like you're making the right decision, or like you miss her all of a sudden?
If she like texted you,
Yeah. You're already not into her. You're
I was
trying to
to
fade
be
her
like
out.
transparent and like
Yeah.
super upfront.
So she'd get her answer maybe.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's not bad. What rules do you disagree with? Because I know you came at me with
I think that's such a strong way.
not agreeing with a lot of my
That was
rules.
like you got to have a hook to get in front of the mic.
No, you did well. Congratulations.
Yeah, we're here,
We're
so
here.
it worked. I think like the two that I was like, all right, like I gotta like find one or two.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 drink rule on the first date, and just like the overall like I think it also ties into like the amount of time you can spend on like a first date. Like
Yeah.
I think it goes into the broader like concept of like if you there's so much ambiguity in love and like relationships and like dating that like you got to follow these things as guidelines, not rules. Like, and
Yeah.
if you're really like, if you're hitting it off or maybe it's like, it's still early in the night and you want to go and like get that nightcap, like go do it. Like everything in moderation. I'm not saying like go and have like 15 drinks and then have him like holding your hair or like vice versa. If I'm speaking internally, like be like shit faced in front of like, I don't think that's appropriate, but like if you guys are having a good night, like keep it rolling.
Yeah, I hear your argument.
Okay.
I just think that there's so much, like there's time for that on date 2, date 3, date 4. It doesn't all have to happen in that first night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's possible that you do hang back and like you have a good time, but you could also have a good time another time. Like it's not like they're going anywhere,
I guess like I'm like a little bit romantic in the sense like it's like, oh, you have like the best first date, like rainy day in New York where it like
Right.
stretches like the whole day.
Right.
And
You
you're
have like a New York day.
like
or
a
New York
total
night.
New York day.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm like guilty of that, of like whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, being like, that was amazing. And like we went to the museum and then we like, and that to me, it's like, oh, how did you and your wife meet?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, we went and got coffee, but then we ended up like closing down Corner Bistro and getting burgers at midnight that night,
Yeah. I like that.
Which in reality is like, it's not going to happen.
Well, have you
but-
had like a rom-com type of first date that did not pan out after that?
I mean, I'm single.
Right. But that doesn't mean you've had like an amazing first date.
Yeah, no, I've had great first dates. And yes, I have had like that, like first where it like clicks and then
And
like
you thought it was going to be like what?
totally. And I think that those often like sometimes drag like a few months and then you're like, oh shit, we kind of just got caught up in like, I think that would be the counter argument to my argument, or like your argument is like slow play these things, like slow burn these things, because like if you are trying to date, but like there's risk in everything and you have to take risk. And that's kind of my argument.
No, that's true. You mentioned some of your friends actually kind of have a little bit of a timeline, which is crazy to me. I've never heard a
What do you mean by
man
that?
like you were like some want to like be married by this age, we want to like kids by this age. Like you kind of glossed over that in the beginning when I had asked you like,
Well,
are
I
you
just think
ready?
that
for
like, and
stuff
not
like this?
particularly my friends, but like, and maybe they're, I keep using the word guilty, which means that like they're like innocent or guilty. That's not what I mean by it, but it's more just like, I think everybody in New York, like they want to check these boxes, and like, I think there's legitimacy to that. Like there's a lot of people that say, like, I read this book about like being in your 20s, and how like your 20s is supposed to suck because it just sets you up for being in your 30s and like build that foundation. Which I think like is obviously you don't want 10 years of your life to suck, but like if it's for like the greater good of like the rest of your life, then like go through these things. And kind of going on a tangent a little bit, but to bring it back to what you're saying is like, I don't think it's wrong to be like, I wouldn't necessarily say I want to be I'm 29. I need to be in an apartment with my girlfriend and this, that, and the other thing. Maybe. But like, if you're like motivated to continue to like progress your relationship and bring it through like these different stages to like stress test it, I see nothing wrong with that. I would encourage that.
Yeah. I guess I was just surprised that
Guys
men
want that,
would have some sort of timeline in their minds, because I feel like they have all the time in the world, unfortunately. And like, unfortunately for us.
Right.
And I rarely hear a man be like, I'd like to be married by him by the time I'm 30, you know?
Mm-hmm. I could see it. I think we're misunderstood.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know.
Oh, but what is it? Like a few bad eggs is the is the expression.
What are your go-to date spots that you're taking women?
I live in Chelsea, which isn't to say I know you rule, you got to travel. And I think that there's like a big thing for that. If I can, like, I like this place, Tia Pole down in Chelsea. On the east side, a friend of mine actually asked me, he's like, what should I do tonight for a date? And I said, Claude, have you ever been to this restaurant? Which I think is like,
oh, wait, no, I've never been, actually. Sorry. I've been trying to go. I think it was hard to get in.
Really hard.
Yeah.
And like, so this is, I think you'll find funny. He was like, I really like this girl. It's like their first date. And I get maybe like, I'm like backtracking. I'm like, I don't know if I should say this or not, but whatever. I think in general, I was like, go sit at the bar. Like, this is like, they're like going on a couple different dates. I'm like, go, like, maybe you won't get a reservation, but like, go put your name down. I love like trying and like putting your name down, be like, okay, let's go grab a quick drink. Not right for the first date, but like, and maybe you did ask me about the first date, but
no, but yeah.
Claude, I like, I love going out to eat. So I think like, again, not a first date, obviously, but trying different restaurants, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's really nice. And like, we might as well utilize the fact that we live in New York City with the best restaurants in the world.
Totally.
What do you wish that girls did more on dates?
Oh, I like love this move. Leave your phone if you go to the bathroom.
I do.
I think it's the
that
best
was like
move
one of my
ever.
flexes.
It's the best thing ever.
That's
I don't know
so
where
fun.
I heard it, but I was like, and maybe it was just like, I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, I used to do that like purposely.
It has to be done with intention.
I actually also do that at dinners with friends too. Like with
100%.
I just think it's like it's a sign of respect. I will say that if you're a guy watching this and you're like, we went on a date and she took her phone, that was on purpose. I wasn't
break that down.
I wasn't feeling that date.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think it is a signal.
If I leave my phone,
I think
I
a
like
signal.
you.
If you're in the bathroom, you're being like, help me, which has happened. Like it always, like you're gonna be on the good side,
but not necessarily. I mean, of course, like I might bring my phone to be like, this is my husband, but that can probably wait till the end. If I leave my phone, it's to show you I'm genuinely going to pee right now. I am not taking my phone to
and
get
people
away from
notice
you.
that, like on both sides.
That's such a good answer. I love that.
One good answer out of this whole.
No, there have been a lot. How do you like to get approached when you're out? Like if someone were to come up to you at Corner Bistro, let's say.
I don't know that I'm like getting like approached that much at like.
Well, I think that's because, typically men should usually approach, so women do it less. But if a woman wanted to,
it's like I think that like it's an Instagram like clip or meme or something, or it's like girls will be like, how can we like approach like this exact question, and guys are like, literally any single way.
I agree, I agree.
Like if you have like the courage to come up, it's such a like confidence boost.
No, it's so true. Do you think that a guy can like a girl and not go after her?
A guy can like a girl in what context?
Like that if he wanted to, he would. Meaning like,
Oh, I think that's a misconception, especially in New York, where like everybody thinks, and like there's like I think there's like, so many impressive people in this city, and like it's a very driven place. But there's plenty of guys who are like shy, who are like great dudes, and be like, oh, I really like that girl, but I'm not going to talk to her. I don't think it's everybody, but like definitely happens, right?
so how can you know if a guy like kind of likes you but doesn't want to talk to, like, it's like as a girl.
At a bar, or like you guys know each other socially?
Either.
I think if you know each other socially, just give it time.
What about at a bar? Like if he's staring at you, he's probably into you.
Yeah, or just drunk. Like I don't know, but yes, I'm
I don't
making
know.
I'm making a joke of it.
No,
but
I
like,
feel like the staring is like usually a telltale sign.
I just like when you say staring, like picture somebody. Like,
No, not in a
mouth
creepy way. Like
open,
just like he like keeps like looking over, and you're like, that guy
totally
keeps looking at me.
I think so.
Like then there's a reason. Do you and your guy friends talk about dating, and like what do they and you say that you struggle with?
Yes, we definitely. I'd say girls. I don't know. Like I sat next to a table of girls the other day and was like, they talked for dating for the 2.5 hours that we were.
Yeah, but we know girls talk.
No, I know it's like a thing, but I was like more like dumbfounded. I'm like, damn, like you guys are still going on this. Okay. I think guys talk about it like more so. Like I'm very fortunate where like my friends are like super open.
Yeah.
And like there's really like I think that like guys are getting better at it, but like talking through, be like, oh, dude, that like really bummed me out. Like, and like there's been experiences like with my roommates, like I'm super close with them, and it's like, oh, dude, that sucked, and like we'll just shoot the shit and be like, oh yeah, like, well, like maybe that was right, and like you just hear a different side of things, or like the good things. You come home and you're like, how'd it go?
Yeah.
Did you kiss?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's that whole thing.
But so what, if anything, do you or your friends struggle with? Like, what do they say is the struggle when it comes to like let's say like your roommate comes back, he's like, oh, like I had another girl who blah, blah, blah. So it's
I
not
think
gonna
it's
work.
less so on like the first date, but it's like more so like as things progress, if they progress, it's like, how did that, like, oh, dude, like I haven't really heard from her in like a week, like maybe like stuff like that, more situational. Like, what do you think? Is this something that like just like it's bouncing ideas off of somebody?
Right. Interesting. My friend Tinks talks about this thing called box theory, where she thinks that guys put girls in a hookup box or a date box. Do you think that that's a thing?
Yes.
Interesting. So what determines what box a girl would go in, and can they get out of this box?
Yes. I think you can go in and be like, oh, like I think you like have like it's like first impressions, like, and you like I think that like it doesn't make it right, but like you have like you're like, oh, like I don't know, I think you see it on the other side as well. You're like, oh, like I really like this guy, like this would be a fun like hookup, or it'll be a fun date, or this could be a relationship.
And sometimes you could say about a guy or a girl, this is going to be a fun hookup, and then change your mind.
No, totally. Or like that date, like you walk in and like first impressions are big and real and important, but like then you sit there and you're like, oh, I wasn't like that attracted to that guy, or I wasn't that attracted to him like in a physical sense, but he made me cry laughing for 2.5 hours. Like that's far more important.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. I think that, yeah, it can, and I've had this conversation with my friend, like I told her that I felt like I was in the hookup box with my partner, with my husband at first.
Oh, really?
We didn't hook up, but like I felt like he was like, oh.
What made you think that?
Well, we kind of have talked about it. Like he was
okay,
like,
we don't have to get
no. I mean, him and I have talked about it.
Okay.
I haven't really talked about it.
Breaking on the pod.
Breaking news. No, he was like, she's the kind of girl that like is like probably gonna hook up with me and like not want to talk to me again. Like he thought it was like gonna be like that vibe.
Oh, so he was thinking it the other way around.
And he probably also thought that I was like, he describes it.
Did you have your podcast at this time?
I did.
Which can be like super intense.
And I was newly single, like very newly single.
Right.
So I don't think that he thought I was like ready to like meet my husband.
Right.
And he also was like, oh, she's just like a hot girl. Like that's how he thought of me, like a hot girl in the city, not like
a good
girl.
Thing. There's worse things to be described.
Totally.
Like,
not like a girl with like a personality to be like a mother and a wife. You know what I mean? And so I think as he got to know me, it's crazy. And I think as he got to know me, he was like, oh shit, like she's more than I expected for this to be.
It's awesome.
And so I do think that it's possible to come out of that box and the opposite. Yeah. Okay. I feel like this is a fun one. Would you date an older woman?
How old?
Like 33?
Yeah. Yes. I think so.
Okay. Love that. What age range do you have on Hinge right now?
I don't know. I truly don't know.
If you had to guess.
Probably like 22 to like 30.
Of course, 22.
I don't know.
Maybe you should change it to 33. See what happens. After
you said
this.
would I? I don't know
After
that I'm
this, you
like
should.
going for it.
Does your bed have a headboard?
It does.
Wow.
I like take a lot of pride in my like room.
Okay. That's rare. And do most of your friends, you don't have to say if you do, but do coke?
Like not anymore. No.
Okay, good. That's nice. Biggest green flag and biggest red flag when dating?
Red flag, I think, is like, which should I go with first? I guess I went with red flag. So
Yeah, end with the good one.
end with a good one. That's like so like that's a tough question to end on. Red flag, I think, would just be like partying a lot and like still out and like really focused on like outside things and like less so focused on like the two of you. I think that it's like at the end of the day, like you're trying to create like something together is how I subscribe to it. People look at it differently, which I can get and can appreciate. And the green flag, I'll round it out, I think, is like affirmation, like both like physical and time and just like being there.
Being present.
Yeah.
Love that. Cool. Can you leave us with a quote or piece of advice?
It was something that, because you kind of teed me up about how to do this. Something that I said earlier is like everything in moderation. Like don't overdo anything, but like enjoy everything. So that's my last quote.
Love that. Where can people find you, follow you, slide into the DMs, and learn more about Conte?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'm RT McMahon dash. There's an RT McMahon that I would love to get that tag. But
Are you private or public?
I'm public.
Okay, cool.
So follow me, RT McMahon, MCMAHON, and then join our supper club. We have a wait list. Jump on. There's a website. It's Conte Supper Club, CONTE Supper Club. Instagram. We don't do TikTok. I probably should, but I don't. And the website.
Very cool. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you so much, Lindsay.
That was awesome.